Hey everyone, Happy New Year and welcome to Open Door Philosophy. I'm Derek Parsons.
Hey everyone, I'm Taylor Jones.
And I am Clarence, aka Andrew. Did we talk about this?
Andrew. Yes, it was in our last episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Anyway, welcome to episode 74, where we'll take a look at some things that we have in store for 2024. But first, how's it going, guys? How was Christmas? How was New Year's?
It was good for me. I just stayed at home and got a lot of rest in, and that was about it. And um, for all the Catholics out there, you know that this was a crazy year for church because you had to go once on Sunday morning to get your regular Sunday obligation, and then you had to go to either the nighttime vigil or you could go the next morning. Uh, but because I like to sit through these long, cold nights and mornings, I went through two for that day. So that was a very, very long, very, very long day.
Wow, it's like bonus points.
Yeah, I guess so. And they sang the long hymns, which were, I mean, very beautiful, but take forever. But anyway, that's enough. What about you, Taylor?
My Christmas was good. We also stayed here. We always stay home for Christmas for the most part and saw my dad's side of the family. And my Nana came down and stayed with us for like a week, which was fun to see her since I hadn't
Nice.
seen her in a while. Yeah,
Where does she
the
normally
usual.
live?
In Livingston, like on the lake. It's like an hour and a half from here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
Good stuff. How's your
And
Christmas?
what-
Was it Christmas?
But yes. Yeah, hi. For Christmas, we went up to Oklahoma to see the folks. So that's what we did. We left on Christmas Day and came back. Thank goodness all the Buc-ee's were open, and it was a good time. It's cold, man. Oklahoma's cold. Yeah. So hi everyone, we're back. So this episode, we thought we would just kind of take a quick look at 2024 as we gear up for a lot of new episodes. So not a lot of philosophy in this particular episode, just kind of thinking about what's coming up for the next year. We had a big meetup a few weeks ago, and to kind of schedule out, create an outline for 2024. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's do it. There's
Yeah.
some big stuff on the docket for the year. It looks like we were really excited to start planning for that. I think one thing that's in the works on my end that I'm super excited about. I mean, it's not all on my end, but I'm going to start with getting it together is this email newsletter. We're going to try to start up a open door philosophy newsletter for people who are interested in joining, and it's going to have a number of things on it, which you know, which I guess will vary month to month depending on who's writing it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we'll have on there maybe some books that we're reading or books that we reference in episodes. We'll have some episode previews on there. I don't know. What else, Taylor? I thought we thought of some things. What else?
Yeah, we said books, anything that we reference on the episode, like if we talk about, in this article, we can link that on there. We said like episode blurbs. I don't know if you said that already. But like information about the episodes that are going to come out in that month. I think that's kind of everything. Just general information and all in one place. So it's not like scattered about.
Yeah, and if you join, I've heard rumors that you'll get a nice introduction to philosophy, how to get started with reading philosophical texts. So you should join, and you'll get that piece of information. So that's great. And hopefully by the time this episode comes out, that will be finished. So check at least the YouTube description to see if you can subscribe there, as long as MailChimp has not banned us for bad content or whatever.
Oh dear. Is it MailChimp or MailChimp?
What's the difference? Like MAIL or MALE?
Chump. You know, like you
No,
chump.
it's not.
I thought you said chump.
No, it's MailChimp, not
Oh,
MailChimp.
chump. Okay. I thought you said MailChimp. It's a great
No
word, by the
chumps.
way.
Yeah.
You know, you're like,
Yeah.
you chump. You know.
Yeah. Male
You
chump.
clown.
MALE
That's a good
chump.
chump. Okay, awesome. Yeah, we're excited about the newsletter. That'll be a good way for us to communicate with everyone. Hopefully on a monthly
Yep.
basis. That's what we're aiming for,
Mhm.
and be able to connect with you guys a little bit more directly.
Yeah, that should be super good. And yeah, look for that link to subscribe, because I think that's going to be good. And yeah, you'll get some special intro content
Mhm.
when you join.
Yeah, and we'll let y'all know when that goes up. It'll be on the website and on our Instagram and everywhere.
Yes, it should be within the month, I think, is a goal we have. Maybe
It's up
we'll see
now,
how.
technically.
Oh,
Yeah,
Ooh.
but we're waiting on MailChimp to take away our account block for
those
inappropriate
chumps,
content. Yeah,
those
MailChimps.
chumps. Can't believe they blocked us. What did
How
they
Yeah,
did that
block us
even
for?
happen?
it was
We
like
don't even have
instantly.
inappropriate
I
content.
know. It was like an instant block when I tried to send out a test email. So,
We're so appropriate.
yeah,
We did talk
I
about
think
whiskey last time, but not about
I
drinking
think
it.
yeah, I think we cursed like once on the show, and I forget what we even said.
I think it was in a quote, and Mr. Parsons asked if he
Yeah.
should bleep it. It was
Oh
like a
yeah.
John Green quote, I think.
Oh yeah,
Oh
that's
yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah.
And you were like, guys, do I need to censor this?
Yeah, I think I said "what the hell" once because I was frustrated about something.
There
Something
we go
stupid.
again.
Something
Just got
appropriately
blocked.
stupid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone was being a chump, and I was like, "What the hell?" It's just a good old, old man dismissive phrase. Anyway,
Get out of here,
next.
Trumps.
Bunch of
All
chumps.
right.
All right, next. Hey, Patreon. Okay, this is a big one, guys. We've been kicking this around for years. Well, years. Yeah, this is year 4.
Yeah.
And so we thought it was time to investigate having a Patreon. Our goal is to have a Patreon up by the summer.
Mm-hmm.
We love what we do. What we do is done as economically as possible, but it is not free. And it would be nice to be able to have some support in making, quite frankly, a better product for everybody. And
Mm-hmm.
so we hope to have that launched by June or July. We'll see how the spring semester goes. But looking forward to Patreon. We're excited about that. We'll have all the usual types of things that come along with Patreons, perks, etc. So anyway, Patrons.
Yeah, I'm super excited for that. And if you're tired of me with speaking in the microphone and hearing some sounds or something, that's the kind of stuff that we're looking to uh, kind of crowd raise for. It's not going to be a company or a podcast vacation to Jamaica or something.
A vacation to Jamaica.
We're gonna raise a Patreon so we can do a live remote on a cruise ship. That'd be great.
Oh,
Yeah,
that'd be nice.
No,
So
but
we can
certainly
yeah,
for
take that
things.
road trip
There you go.
to
After the
learn
road
about
trip,
it.
we'll do the cruise.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, but no, it'd be great.
Mhm.
There's costs associated with the hosts that we use for distribution, and we have other costs like email and well, just other associated things. Well, a platform that we record on, etc. It'd be nice to get
Mhm.
some better equipment. Quite frankly, I think we do pretty good, but we could certainly sound better, and that comes with some better equipment. So anyway, Patreon.
for
Look
sure.
forward to it.
Yep.
Yeah, good stuff.
Let's see. Taylor, you want to do the next one?
Yeah.
Andrew did the first one. I did the second one.
hmm And then our third goal for the year that we have is to have some more guests on. In previous years, we've had guests on, but last year we didn't have any. But we have a couple of people already lined up and that we hope to have on the podcast to kind of diversify what we have on. And about like every quarter, we want to have a guest on to talk about something that they're doing, whether that's a book that they're writing or an article, a project that they're working on in an area that maybe we're not as familiar with, but we're interested in. That way, y'all can also have some more information and more resources to look at and more like books to read if you're interested in those areas.
Yeah, I think it's great to kind of have your thumb or your finger or whatever appendage on the. Let me say that again. Yeah, I think it's great to have your thumb kind of on what's going on currently in the philosophical world, what's being published, and being knowledgeable about that. Philosophy goes back centuries, of course, but it's a very active field, and philosophers are constantly publishing not only academic papers, but books that you would, for a general audience, and
Mhm.
which all of us are. And so, yeah, there's just a lot of those philosophers out there. We did place an emphasis on the first 2 years of having guests on. And I think we did a great job with that. We had some really fascinating guests on. Go back and listen to those episodes. But yeah, we just kind of abandoned that idea in 2023. I don't know if we were just worn out, but we're excited to get guests back.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think there's kind of two things about the guests. First, they offer a really interesting avenue into different philosophical topics, like Taylor said, but they're also a good way for you to engage in current philosophical dialogue in the sense that
Mhm.
if you've been listening to these episodes, or if you find some episodes really interesting, uh, and you are learning about that field, you can use those guests as an opportunity to branch off and
Mhm.
to engage in some contemporary discourse about it, see how uh, your thoughts about philosophy in whatever field that might be, how they relate to people who are working at the very top of academic fields and even in, uh, like you were saying, in general audiences. So it's a really great metric, I think, too, to see that philosophy is not just some um, stuffy academic discipline, although it certainly is in a lot of places, but it is something that philosophers are intentionally trying to
Mhm.
engage in with the normal world. So
Mhm.
I think that's always a good reason to have some guests on. Who are some of these guests that we're thinking about? I know we have one lined up. So who? Let's.
Yeah, that's a good way to segue. That's a good way to segue. That's a good segue for some of the topics we're going to talk about in 2024. So, just real quick again, the goals we have for next year is that email newsletter, Patreon by summer, and guests, more guests. And so
Mhm.
our first guest that we have lined up will come in March. Excuse me. His name's Jack Symes, a good friend of the podcast, and also is the host of the Panpsycast podcast. So go check that out. It's a great philosophy podcast. He is publishing his second book, and it's in a series called Philosophers. No, what's the series called? Hmm. Thinking About Philosophy is the name of the series.
Mm.
But the second book is called Philosophers on God, Thinking About Experience. And so the Panpsycast really began as a podcast about religion, philosophy of religion. So this is
Hmm.
a topic that Jack has a lot of experience with. His first book, and you can go back and listen to that episode, was on consciousness. But now
Hmm.
this next one is on God. And so it's filled with fascinating interviews, and we look forward to having him on the podcast in March. And aside from that,
Mhm.
sorry, you guys want to say something?
No, I mean, I think Jack is was a good kind of mentor to us. So we're excited to have him back, and yeah, he's always so fun to talk to too. So I know that's going to be a good episode.
Oh yeah, totally great guy. Like he's just fun to talk to, just like we're fun to talk to. Hmm.
We'll
And then the
see if
second
the
person.
oh sorry, we'll
No,
see
you're good.
we'll see if we'll because I think last time we had some kind of hate towards England or something. So we'll see if that's boiled over.
Oh, let me rephrase. You had some hate towards England. You were like hating
Yeah.
on England. It wasn't too
Yeah.
dramatic, but an
Yeah.
Englishman might be slightly offended. Me, I love English culture. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Give me a meat pie and a pint any day. And a football game, Andrew. A football game.
You don't play
Football?
with your feet.
Soccer, you do.
You literally play with your feet.
No,
It's
like,
football. It's a
legitimately.
ball that you move with your feet.
That makes so much more sense calling soccer football than football, like American football.
Yeah, American football just needs a name like rugby. Like, what's rugby? It's just a bunch of giant
Like,
men clashing into each other. You know.
it has the same energy as the sport. Or like
Yeah.
lacrosse.
Le
Feels like
Croix.
Yes. La Croix. Okay. Anyway,
okay.
that's good stuff. We will not hate on England this time. I don't know. Maybe Andrew will. You'll just have to tune in to find out.
Andrew might.
Our second guest, also an Englishman, which should be in May, I believe, will be Philip Goff. And
Mhm.
Philip Goff has written a new book on about just questioning the purpose of existence, and it kind of has a religious angle to it. So his previous book was Galileo's Error, which dealt with
Mhm.
consciousness and specifically panpsychism. So really looking forward to having Philip on the show as well.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
And I think it really goes back, if we're looking at both of these guests, our podcast, although it was wide in variety at the start, there was an interest in philosophy and religion, I think, from both Mr. Parsons and I. So it's always fun to kind of go back to that topic, or I always enjoy it, and I'm excited. I don't think we've ever done topics related to philosophy or religion with you yet, Taylor, but so it'll be fun to
Mhm.
add you into that conversation. And I think the interesting thing about guests, what we try to normally do is we don't kind of drop guests in, into the bucket or something. We usually, I mean, I can't think of an episode where we didn't do this, but we give some context in episodes before. And so usually I can think of some actually, but usually when there are kind of topics on certain philosophical areas, we'll give a little bit of context before and present arguments surrounding what that guest is going to bring. So don't expect for those just to be out of the blue.
Mhm.
We're going to give some context and we'll go through the philosophy surrounding those, which is always great. And I guess that's a good segue too to our um, to the topics we're going to talk about this year.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Maybe.
we've got a couple sketched out.
Yeah.
You want to go,
So,
Taylor?
yeah, the first topic that we have planned out is beauty. We haven't really talked about beauty on the podcast yet, so we wanted to kind of cover that area, and that'll actually be our next episode that's coming out, where we explore how different philosophers throughout time, from ancient philosophy all the way up to the modern era, think about beauty and define beauty, and then kind of wrap in some current topics like discussions about, is modern art actually art, and how art fits into definitions of beauty, and how does human beauty fit in, and kind of exploring those topics that are a little bit outside what we would usually cover. But we want to kind of expand and keep growing as a podcast and just as philosophical thinkers in general in the upcoming year.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Beauty is
Mhm.
a fascinating. Beauty and aesthetics is usually what a lot of people will call it. There's some slight variation between those two terms, but not much.
Mhm.
But yeah, beauty and aesthetics. We haven't touched. We've done this for 3 years, and we haven't done a single thing on beauty, except maybe carrying on about the beauty of the world of forms or something
Mm.
of Plato's. So yeah, it's going to be a two-part episode. The first episode will deal with some very common, very practical types of questions about beauty and aesthetics, and then the second episode will begin digging into some philosophy, what ancient, medieval, modern, and 20th century philosophers have said about beauty.
Yeah, I'm excited for us to take this on because it's one of the most, I think it's one of the most controversial questions in philosophy. Is
Mhm.
Are things objectively beautiful, or is it a subjective? Is it just somebody's taste if something's beautiful or not? And I mean, the philosophy of beauty, it's kind of off-putting when we've been talking about morality and ethics and political
Mhm.
philosophy. That's how we ended last year, and so it can seem a little abstract and silly, but I think really it's a deeply personal topic and
Mhm.
something that we all kind of have natural opinions about. I can think of many occasions where I've been talking to people and they think, um, they look at modern art in disgust and they say, well, I could have made that, or how could anyone think this is cool or something, or beautiful? And so these questions really get at to the heart of, human experience and such. And so I think it's going to be a interesting few episodes.
Mhm.
Even if it doesn't sound like something that's normally up your alley. I was not someone who is really interested in this topic, but then I kind of got into it on accident a few years ago, and it is really interesting, and so I encourage everybody to check
Mhm.
that one out.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to it. That'll come out, I don't
The
know, a
25th?
week or so? A week or two? I don't know. Can't remember. Anyway, it's our next
Mhm.
episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
2
2
weeks
weeks
from
from when
today.
this one goes up.
Yeah.
2 weeks from today. All right, very good.
Mhm. Yeah. I'm
Yeah, and then another
really
thing
excited.
oops, sorry. Go ahead, Taylor.
Oh, no, that was it. I'm just really excited because I think beauty is also very interesting in art. And I think that we're going to have some interesting discussions because we come at it from different viewpoints. So if you're interested in that, do tune in.
Yeah, it's a special word, right? We use that word in,
Mhm.
in very particular situations, and we mean something by it, very specific when we say it. And it's not a word we use a lot,
Yep.
but when we
Yep.
do use
Mhm.
it, it's very intentional, and that's what I find interesting.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Then some other topics this year we're looking to get into. I always think about what we have planned is oftentimes not where we end up. So this is kind of like maybe the first half of 2024. It all changes. We come up with new topics. We're like, ooh, let's do something on that, and then we push something down the road.
Mhm.
Anyway, I think another one that'd be really interesting to talk about, especially given that it's an election year and there's a lot of things, a lot of talk about free speech and what free speech is, and what is acceptable speech and what is not. And so to take a
Mhm.
look at that philosophically and what thinkers have said about that over the years, I think would be a very timely and a very interesting topic to think about.
Yeah. I think that will be really interesting. And to pull different thinkers from throughout time. Hannah Arendt comes to mind. She has some
Mm,
really interesting writings on how like government and society dictates how we even think. So it'll be
mm,
interesting to explore how late 20th century political thinkers approach free
yeah,
speech in the wake of like global tragedy.
yeah.
And I think this is going to be a really good episode where we're going to be looking, or a series where we're going to be looking at the practicality of philosophy. I honestly could care. I don't even know what philosophers say about free speech, and really I don't even care. And so I at the end of the day, um, I think it's going to be an interesting discussion about
Mhm.
how speech impacts uh,
Mhm.
how we think about speech impacts the formation of governments and such. So I think that'll be cool.
Mhm.
And yeah, maybe my opinion will change. But I mean I think it is very important, of course, and that doesn't mean anything. Um, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I have nothing to follow up with that. I'll let Taylor talk about the next one, but Taylor's a big fan of Simone de Beauvoir, and
I
we're going to
am.
talk about some feminist issues this coming year.
Yeah, so in 2023 we branched kind of into issues of feminism and women's rights. We started the year talking about Simone de Beauvoir, and that's something that throughout my school studies I've gotten even more interested in and just found so interesting studying Simone de Beauvoir and Mary Wollstonecraft. And I'm taking a class on philosophical issues and feminism this upcoming semester. So I'm excited to get to study that and kind of bring those ideas onto the podcast and talk about them since they're so timely and just like continuing discussions. You see that all the way back into like the 1800s, and when you have Mary Wollstonecraft that starts writing, and
Mm-hmm.
women keep talking about these same issues over and over and over again, trying to make progress and trying to change social opinions of women and what the role of a woman is designated out to be. And you see that even continuing out into pop culture media like the Barbie movie, which we've kind of tossed around a little bit. So we wanted to kind of explore more of those topics and kind of branch out into that sort of thing. And I really want to read all of the Second Sex this upcoming year. I read snippets of it for a class and wrote an essay on parts of it, but I just find it so interesting, and it still is relevant today in a lot of ways. So I think that'll be interesting also to look at where progress has been made in from when these like influential pieces were written to today, and how like maybe some issues still persist. Will be kind of interesting to talk about.
Yeah, I think it's interesting in the Western canon. Women did not have a voice in philosophy really until the 20th century, but you do have some
Mhm.
women writers in the 19th and just a handful in the 18th. And feminism has this particular people have particular associations with that word
Mhm.
and what that means. I was I can't remember where I read it, but it was talking about, maybe it was Margaret, uh, not Margaret Mead. Anyway, I was reading about early women philosophers, and people were complaining that women philosophers were writing about women's issues. And they're like, well, they haven't been able to write anything in like 1800 years. What do you
Yeah.
think they're going to write about? They're going to write
Mhm.
about their experiences as women. And then when African Americans began entering into the field of philosophy, well, they're
Mhm.
writing about African American issues. And same
Mhm.
thing, it's like, well, what did you expect them to write about? Theory of
Right.
forms. I mean, and so post Simone de Beauvoir, here in the late 20th, early 21st century, I'll be really interested to see
Mhm.
if that's changed in any sort of way. Obviously, with suffrage, and then like second wave feminism with Simone de Beauvoir, as far as like
Mhm.
occupation and how women are viewed. I'm curious, like, kind of where it is now, and I don't want to say we've
Mhm.
fixed those problems or issues, but it certainly has changed since the 1960s and 70s. So anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to all of that. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that should be super cool.
Okay,
And
Plato.
last, you want to talk about Plato, Andrew?
oh yeah, but I don't remember what we're going to talk about Plato with. What are we going to talk about
Well, like
Plato with?
Crito and
Crito.
Oh,
Symposium, or
right.
Mhm.
I forgot. Yeah, so for our last planned episode so far is a series to kind of finish up, I think, on Plato with two of his last dialogues that we haven't really talked about, which are the Apology and the Crito, both of which are
Mhm.
mm-hmm.
very important texts in philosophy, apparently, and
Apparently.
and and they're very
It seems.
yeah, it seems
Yeah.
like they're like the first thing people usually read when they're studying
Mhm.
philosophy formally. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Oh, yeah.
surprised they haven't talked about it really, and I think that those will be great, very good episodes because a lot of questions that are brought up in both of those uh, are still relevant questions today.
Mhm.
So, and that might be a good episode really to refer people to in the future if they're trying to get interested in philosophy, because those are
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
probably the best places to start. Apology, I think that's the first time that the word philosophy is used in what it means basically today. Uh, and I think that the Crito is probably the easiest philosophical thing ever written to read and still get a lot out of. So both of those are
Mhm.
very good for people to start off with. So that's going to be great.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, for those of us who've been in philosophy for a while, I think it's easy to overlook the death of Socrates because we've just heard about it so many dang times. And it's incredibly foundational for just what the philosophical project is in Western philosophy. Everything, goes from that. And so it'd
Mhm.
be good to visit that. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. And then the Crito presents some interesting discussion on when it's morally right to violate a law, and like when laws should be followed because they are the laws and you've agreed to follow them as a citizen, and when would it be okay to like morally break a law, which I think is really interesting. And Plato has some interesting things to say in that too.
Yeah.
I got in
Yeah.
trouble for for writing a paper on that once, actually.
Oh.
We'll talk about it there, I guess.
Okay,
I think I
it's not
wrote
why we
that.
got banned on MailChimp, is it?
Hopefully not. I wrote that paper twice, and both times it was controversial.
No.
So
Twice.
yeah. So that'll be
Okay.
a very fun episode, I'm sure.
Yeah, that'll be a teaser.
Yeah.
Don't tell us. Don't tell us until we get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's it. I don't know. Anything else to say, guys, about
I don't
2024?
think so.
I don't think so. I think what was our biggest goal for the year? I think that might be a good thing to talk about.
Biggest goal? Well, of the three listed, I don't know. For me, I think Patreon's going to be the biggest challenge for me because I think I'm going to be the one that handles that. And there's some things, like the finances and some things that'll take some research. But anyway, I'm excited about that. I don't know. I feel like a goal is this is always a goal, I guess, to increase listenership. We would love to have more people listen. Not because we need more people to listen, but we feel like our project is an important project for other human beings to engage with. That's why we do it. We enjoy hanging out with each other too. But yeah, I mean, to see those numbers increase, which they have very consistently increased over the last 3 years. But this is year 4, so it'll be really interesting to see what happens as we begin looping some guests back in and the 3 years of experience under our belts.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because year 4 is kind of our segue into. I mean, it's a big number, but it's kind of like our segue into 5 years of podcasting too, which is crazy to think about. So
Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
yeah, we'll hit episode 100 in February of 2025 if we're on track.
that's
And
fitting.
Wow.
I mean, who would ever thought 100 episodes? Oh man, can you imagine if we did this weekly?
Crazy.
It would be 200 episodes. Anyway,
Yeah, in
that's a
half the
lot.
time. It's
Maybe
crazy.
one day.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a lot of philosophy to like think about what do you talk about every single week
I
and
think
come
we'd
up with
run out
new
of things
things.
to say.
No, you never run out of things
No.
to say. What is that one show, History of Philosophy Without Gaps? Wait,
Oh
am I
yeah,
saying it? Oh, that's History
yeah.
Without... Wait, am I saying it right?
History of
Peter
philosophy without any
Adamson?
Yeah,
gaps.
I
Yeah,
think so.
yep,
Yeah,
yeah,
it has
that's
like
true.
hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of episodes.
Oh yeah, but they're still like in
Yeah.
Renaissance England.
I know.
Yeah,
I mean, you could probably do a whole podcast on Plato's Republic and like not run out of things to talk about
Oh, yeah.
for
Yeah, you could just have
a
a
long
Republic
time.
podcast. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm sure you could.
Yeah.
It would end eventually, I'm sure, but it would be a long podcast.
Yeah.
And like, here's the deal: the philosophers we hit, they're major philosophers. There's some that are lesser known. Like I know in beauty we're gonna reference Theodore Adorno. Philosophers know who that person is, but a whole lot of people don't. Susan Langer is another person we'll talk about. But yeah, on the whole, we're like Hegel and Kant and
Oh yeah, we've just listed like we've gone over the most like 15 famous philosophers or something.
yeah.
We haven't
And
even
there's so
gotten
much
into
more
the
out there.
Plotinus and all of those guys who are still
Oh
super
yeah.
influential in philosophy, but
Oh yeah. Yeah, believe it or not, we've just scratched the surface.
yeah. And we haven't even
Yeah.
done a Hegel episode or a
No,
Heidegger
I avoid
episode.
that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, Heidegger. Oh man, that would take some work. But yeah, Heidegger, interesting fellow.
We
Let's
did
get
2 Nietzsche
phenomenological.
episodes. Yeah. No, I think it's
We did
it's
two
I
really
Nietzsche. I think we've
important.
only done the one. We've just
I
done
thought
the
we did
one.
one
don't know.
recently on Nietzsche, but maybe not.
Maybe
Maybe he was just in something. He was in the Spookiest Philosophers episode, I think.
That's right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
He
he
pops up
was.
a lot. We could do another
I
one
like.
on anyway. Okay, we'll just set it for the next 30 minutes and be like, we could do
We
an
need to
episode
do a
on blah blah blah.
phenomenology episode. Actually, that's
Oh, we
that's
I
about
could
time.
love phenomenology.
write it down.
Put it in the
I'm
list.
writing it down right here on this bill I haven't paid. Phenomenology. That's what I get for recording in my office. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good
Well, I think
segue,
that's
though.
it, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure to let us know what kind of topics that you're interested in, and so we can cover those, or people that you want us to have on. Because that's
Oh,
always
absolutely.
good.
Yeah, please contact. Let us know. Yeah,
Yes.
let us know if you have interesting topics. Yeah, like Andrew said, guests you're interested in. Let's see what we can do. That'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple
I
of
guess we're doing the
episodes that we
outro.
did.
We're doing the outro.
Yeah, I guess
Is this
so.
the outro?
Yeah, I guess it is.
Okay.
But,
Hey, thanks
yeah.
for listening, everyone. We really enjoy you listening and enjoy what you do. So, welcome to year 4.
Like Mr. Parsons said, if there's a topic that you want us to cover, please let us know over on Instagram or in the comments, or email us. Let us know somehow, and we'll cover it. Like we did a couple episodes last year that were based on listener questions or topics that our listeners presented to us that were really fun, and we wouldn't have necessarily thought of on our own or like come to that as quickly. So please do let us know what you want to see upcoming and anything else that you have to share with us over on our Instagram at Open Door Philosophy, or on our email at contact@opendoorphilosophy.com, or over on our YouTube, and it should just be Open Door Philosophy.
Yep.
I
Slam
think
that
that's
subscribe button.
That's right. Subscribe, like, review.
Hit the notification bell.
Yep, that's true. Yeah, this is crazy. Welcome to year 4. Wild, wild, wild. It's been a lot of fun. Guys. All right, so remember, if your life is in need of some philosophy, the door will always be open. See you
Oh, I like
in 2
that
weeks.
addition.
Yeah.
We'll always be open. Yes, see you in 2 weeks.